Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. Now, the midday kickoff curse has finally been lifted, and thankfully for Liverpool, we ended the game in style. Some big talking points before the match even began, and that was that Kwanzaa started his first game for Liverpool. A big call from the manager to show faith in the youngster, but nevertheless, an amazing opportunity to showcase his talent and a proud moment for him and his family. And to be fair, he did fantastically well on his debut. In terms of the starting lineup, Gomez started at right back as expected, as Trent is still currently in the sidelines with an injury. Jota and Gakpo led the line with Diaz and Nunes on the bench, as well as new signing Ryan Gravenberch. So, in terms of the first half, match highlights, Wolves started the game very positively, to be fair, and unfortunately for Liverpool, they opened the score sheet on the 6th minute. Neto, who was flying, I would say, in the first half. Second half was a different game. He had a moment where he skips past Matip, and Szoboszlai with ease hits across the canvas, and Hwang Hee-chan scores an easy chance. Now, Alisson tried to parry the ball away, but at that point, the ball was already past the goal line. So, in terms of that goal, I think Matip probably should have done better. I think he let Neto go far too easily. But yeah, we can review his individual performance later in the show. But regardless, a poor start from Liverpool, and it's not the first time we've conceded a goal so early in the game. We need to be a lot better when it comes to playing in transition. We got caught flat-footed again. Even before Neto approached the box, I'll probably say Gomez should have been a bit more aggressive towards Neto before he even made that charging run, as I feel like he gave him a bit too much space to maneuver that move, I would say. But yeah, not a good moment for Liverpool. Liverpool didn't really react after that. They looked shaky. Neto also had a half chance in the box, but luckily for us, it went over. Wolves were very aggressive when it comes to their pressing in the first half, showing great energy. And Liverpool just seemed to be far half asleep in the first half and lacked energy. I know there was a lot of players that travelled during the international break, and it was quite evident as we just didn't seem to get past first gear. Jota also had a chance with a half volley in the first half, always going over, unfortunately, as the pass was behind him. Difficult one to bring down. Neto has a swipe at goal with his right foot. But, that's not his stronger foot, so never really troubling the goalkeeper there. At that stage, it was just a terrible watch. Liverpool struggling to keep the ball and even string a few passes together. Really disappointing to see in the first half. Wolves had another great chance. Neto pretty much cooks Gomez on the right-hand side with a cheeky nutmeg. Hits across towards Cunha, who completely misses the ball with his head. That was the big opportunity for Wolves. That was probably the turning point of the game, because if that goal had gone in, I think it was could have been a different outcome. Gakpo has a chance with a side foot effort, but unfortunately he sliced it wide. He has another chance moments later through a Gomez cross, but his header goes over the bar. Liverpool got closer to getting an equaliser just before halftime. It was a bit of a melee where Salah and Szoboszlai were taking shots, and it was just getting blocked by Jose Sa and his defense. And then moments later, Cunha had another chance, and his effort went over the bar. So he didn't have the best of days when it comes to finishing, unfortunately for him. Liverpool, at that stage, just before halftime, thinking they need to change personnel in the second half. Things aren't working. And thankfully, that's exactly what Klopp did. So in the second half, he brought in Diaz for McAllister, and he almost makes an instant impact. Szoboszlai hits a low, has a great pass to Robbo, and he crosses the ball towards Diaz, and he leaps to head the ball into the near post, but unfortunately misses the target. So at that stage, the formations changed. Liverpool have started the second half with a 4-2-3-1. Szoboszlai in a double pivot. Now, I'm one of his biggest fans. Not the role I want him to see him play, as he's far more effective further up the pitch. But I think at that stage, because we weren't really able to string a lot of passes, and one of his skill sets is to retain the ball, so he's got good ball retention. So I think Klopp was smart in terms of playing him in a deeper role, using that trait to get a grip of the game. And thankfully, that actually led us to the equaliser. So Liverpool get the equaliser as Szoboszlai charges through the middle of the park from a deep position to start the move. Salah hits the cross and Gakpo gets a tap in. And that assist was just amazing. Sublime pass from Mo Salah, inch perfect in my opinion. That was the last contribution from Gakpo as he was subbed off moments later with Jota. So Núñez and Elliott were brought onto the pitch. Núñez, to be fair, had a great introduction, has a 1-2 of Diaz in the middle of the box, tries to slot in the bottom corner, but Jose Sa and Kilman blocked the effort. Diaz has a shot with his left foot, blocked by Dawson. At that point, you're thinking the wave has changed. Liverpool are definitely going for that win, and Wolves are defending for their lives. And thankfully, it was yesterday's captain, Andrew Robertson, getting on the score sheet, which is a rare moment, but a moment he'll cherish, I'm sure. Great play by Mohamed Salah. Robbo runs into the box as a free man, and he slots in calmly in the back of the net. Great finish from the left back there, proud moment, as I mentioned. But it was actually a great finish, to be fair to him. I'm sure most strikers would be proud of that one. Liverpool on the attack again. Nice through ball by Gomez to Salah, who squares it to Diaz, but he's unable to get a clean hit towards goal. And then there was a shaky moment where Robertson had to make a clearance as Bueno hits a high cross, and Doherty was making a leap to head the ball towards goal, but in the end, great defending from the left back there. Liverpool finally got the third goal. Strong hold-up play by Núñez. Some saying it was a foul. I just think it was a 50-50 moment where Núñez used his body really well to skip past Dawson, and unfortunately, he got the elbow in the end, but I don't think it was a deliberate one. He lays it off to Elliott, whose shot deflects onto the post and in. And unfortunately, that goal was actually not given to Elliott. It was given to Bueno as an own goal as the ball was heading wide. So what kind of nonsense is that? Should have given the attacker the advantage and awarded him the goal. But in the end, Liverpool got the win. So I'm not sure we're too fast in terms of who the goal scorer is. New signing Gravenberch comes on to make his Liverpool debut. Actually had a good chance to score towards the end. I think he got his ball stuck under his feet and wasn't able to release a shot towards goal. But overall, a good win for Liverpool. Poor start in the first half, as Wolves were by far the better team. Second half, Liverpool switched formation to a 4-2-3-1 and took control of the game. So credit to Jurgen Klopp for changing formation and making some early substitution, which definitely had a huge impact to the game. That victory put Liverpool in top spot for a couple of hours, I would say, before the 3 p.m. games yesterday. Still undefeated this season and still undefeated in 16 games since last season. So we're on a rise, and there were some great individual performances today that certainly helped with the win. Last season, if I'm honest, I think we may have struggled to change this game around. This season, there's a different type of energy, a mentality within the players. I actually think it will be very difficult to beat this season, as this team doesn't seem to give up. So we'll keep going. The mentality monsters are being reformed, and to be fair, it's great to see. Wolves, on the other hand, showed a great account of themselves, played some good football in the first half. Maybe if they're taking their chances, particularly Cunha, it would have been a different game altogether. But I always thought, like, the way they played in the first half, could they maintain that energy levels into the second half? And it's quite evident they weren't able to do so. Some standout performances from the Wolves team, and João Gomez, who we were linked with. So definitely good player in terms of his tackling. Bellegarde as well, I think he'll be a fan favourite at the Molineux, and Pedro Neto. So Wolves fan can definitely take some positive from the game, despite the loss. But in the end, I think Liverpool did more than enough to clinch the win. Just got a few comments here I'll read out. So one from Bobby K. Thank you, Bobby K, for your support as always. Appreciate it. And then we've got Emirali. Thank you for your comment. Big up, Ozzie. What a game that was. And glad we got the win and 3 points. Certainly agree. Red and white, red, white, and red. Thank you for your comment. Robert, my captain. Yeah, great captain performance from him. You know, first one and got his first win as well. So not bad moment there for him. And Riley said, we've shown we're a serious team again. We're mentally capable of bouncing back from difficult circumstances. We just need to be more consistent within the actual game. First 45 were not good enough. I have to agree with that. I think the way we start games is quite not shocking, but it's just we haven't changed since last season. That was one of our Achilles, I would say, where we normally do really well during the game, but individual areas led to a lot of mistakes last season. In this game, I wouldn't say it was an individual mistake. I think it was just a collection of things. So Gomez, I think, should have been a bit more tighter towards Neto on the left wing. But the way Matip just let him go as well, for me, that's not acceptable. So yeah, the way we start games is very, very important. We need to improve on that, certainly. But, you know, considering we've bought 4 new midfielders and pretty much have a new midfield in general, they seem to have gelled really quickly. I know Endo hasn't played much, made a couple of appearances. You've got Gravenberch, who came off the bench today, but these players will be slowly embedded in the team. Still got Bajtic coming, still got Thiago to come in as well. So it's looking good, to be fair. Amirale says, we'll gel and improve to 100%. Got another comment here from Anfield Uncle Roz. Big up, bro. Thank you, Uncle Roz. I appreciate your comment there, as always. So what we'll do now, it's time to review the Liverpool players, and I'll present my player rating. So if you're watching live, feel free to drop your comment and rate each player as I go along as well. Just got another comment here from Red, White, and Red. Same story as last season for me. Club responsible for preparation, can't blame every player. No, totally agree. It's a mentality thing as well, in terms of how we set up. I feel like the opening 10 minutes, we should be a bit more compact as a team, especially the defensive unit. But yeah, it's a crazy one. I think last year as well, a lot of the mistakes, I wouldn't say was down to coaching. I just think there were individual errors. So that's something the players can work on in training. But yesterday's goal, I think that was a defensive thing. And on the right-hand side, Matip and Gomez, for me, should have done a lot better to block Neto. But I think maybe we could have so early in the game. I think his pace might have took them by surprise. But we all know Neto is such a good player. Amelia says, I wish I could join the call, but I'm not at home. I'm excited for these 2 next matches. No problem. You can come on the show anytime in the future. I'll be doing this pretty much every weekend. So yeah, appreciate your comments. It's still a great contribution to the show. So yeah, so we'll do some player ratings now. So I'll display the team for you guys, and then we'll go through each player and review their performances. So first one is Alisson. I don't think Alisson had a bad game or anything like that. I think he had a solid game. But there's other games where I feel like he stood out a bit more, but solid performance nevertheless. So I'm not going to give him a very high ranking, just on the basis that I think there were some other spectacular performances in this team. So I'm going to give Alisson a 7 out of 10. On to Robertson. As you can see, I've already added a star to his name because for me, he was man of the match. One of his much better performances for a long time. This season, definitely by a mile. I feel like last season there were phases where we weren't really seeing the energetic Robertson that we're used to seeing. But obviously, I feel like when you play in a Klopp team, it can have an effect in your body. But this year, I feel like maybe because he's one of the more senior figures in the team, I feel like he's taking that responsibility quite well. And yesterday's game, he was named captain as well. So I feel like he played with pride yesterday, bombing down the wing really well. Did some good crossing as well. That's something I feel like he's reduced in terms of his forward runs and not putting as many crosses as he should do, because in the last few years he was doing that consistently. I feel like if he continues to do that, definitely he'll get his assist numbers up. And he's got fantastic passing ability. And the goal itself as well, which was crazy. It was from a set piece, but he wasn't actually in the box. He was one of the 2 players that defends the halfway line. and then he saw his opportunity, bombed down the right-hand side, which is unusual for him as well. And then just the way he just finished it with the outside of his left foot, nice finish. Probably watching some Mo Salah compilations or something. Really good finish from him. In terms of his performance, I'll give him an 8.5. I thought he was fantastic, and for me, he was man of the match. Kwanzaa, what a great debut from him. You'd think he's an experienced pro the way he played. Didn't put a foot wrong, to be fair. So solid. I feel like as he grows more confidence with playing with the first team, I think we'll see a different side in terms of his passing range. I feel like some of his passing was too safe, but I'd rather, because his debut, that, it makes sense for him to play in that manner. But as he plays more games, I feel like if he can show a bit more passing range, because he is capable of doing it. I've seen in pre-season. I've seen it in a couple youth matches that he played for Liverpool as well. So definitely has that in his locker. And, he's got the likes of Van Dijk, Konate, and Matip, who are experienced pros to learn from. So, no, really, really great performance. Made some good blocks as well. Just didn't look out of place. You get youngsters come into the team and you're thinking maybe this level is a bit too high. I feel like he, was fantastic. Just fitting perfectly the way we played. So I'll give him a strong 8. I think he was fantastic in this game. Matip, on the other hand, not for me. Let me just share some comments before we move on to other players. So Uncle Rosa said 7 for Ali. So yeah, pretty much agree there. You give Robert a 10. Not mad at that. I should give him a 10 as well, to be fair. Addison 7, yep. Raleigh as well. Robert 8. That's fair as well. Kwanzaa 7. So yeah, I think I was just impressed by Kwanzaa, considering he's a young kid, make his first debut. I know it wasn't at Anfield, so that might have been more of a daunting task. But still, in an away game where I'm sure the atmosphere is loud, it's it's quite a small stadium as well, so you will hear the fans as you're playing on the pitch. So no, he was fantastic. Really, really impressed with him. Cross is given an 8 as well. So yeah, we're in line in terms of the ranking. Matip, that goal, I'm still a bit annoyed in terms of his defending there. I feel like he should have done better. It's just the way he put his hands in the air and just let him go through. Yeah, that's not acceptable in my book. So I think there's a couple moments during the game as well where he made charging runs and looked a bit more sort of indecisive in terms of his play, because normally he'll run with the ball and he'll know what he's doing. But there was times where I think he made the wrong passes a couple of times. Didn't look as comfortable as he normally does. So I don't know. He didn't have the best of afternoons, to be fair. In terms of the back four, I don't think he had a close enough game in terms of Robertson and Kwanzaa's rating. So I'm going to give him 6.5. Might be low, but I don't think he had a good game. And Riley is actually giving 5.5. So maybe I'm being too generous with my ranking there. Joe Gomez. He had a Jekyll and Hyde type of performance. First half, he was awful. I think the goal, I wouldn't say he's at fault at the goal, but I feel like he maybe could have done better. And then there are a lot of moments in the game where Neto just had him on toast in terms of outpacing him, nutmegged him a couple times as well. And he just, didn't have the best of afternoons. But having said that, I think the switch of the formation definitely helped with the double pivot. Maybe it gave him that license to step up a little bit more. And I think also, I remember seeing a couple of times actually where Gomez kind of played inverted as well, which I didn't really want to see because he doesn't really have that passing range like Trent. So, by trade, he's actually a centre back. So he should be playing on the more defensive side as a right back rather than making him a playmaker as such. So I think that he did that a couple of times and then maybe they realized it wasn't working. So he just drifted back and focused on Neto. And second half, did a great job. Didn't really hear a sniff out of Neto in the second half. Pretty much MIA. So in terms of his performance, what can I give him? If I've given Do you know what? I think I've given Matip a higher ranking than I should have. I'm going to give Matip a 6. And I'm going to give Joe Gomez a 6.5. I think Gomez had a better game than Matip all round, especially second half. Definitely was better defensively and even made a couple crosses as well going up top. So no, I'm going for a 6.5 there. Just got a couple more comments here. Red, white, and red. Matip 7.5 is clearly babysitting. Yes, I was thinking that as well. Maybe because he had a young player next to him, maybe he didn't play with much freedom as well. But I don't know, there was a couple of times where I wasn't as impressed with Matip. Uncle Rose has gone for 6 as well. So yeah, pretty much in line with my one there. You've gone for 7.5 for Gomez. I'm not mad at that. I feel like his second half performance was much, much better than the first half. But obviously, it was such a bad performance in the first half. You know, you can't go wrong with regards to that. Uncle Rod says Gomez finished off strong. Yeah, definitely did. Definitely did. Gomez, 7th from Emrali. Yeah. So similar ranking in terms of red, white, and red agreed as well. Emrali is asking red, white, and red. Have you got a YouTube channel? Yeah, drop your link in the comments. I'm sure all of us will follow you if you do so. So yeah, drop your comment. Let us know. So it's your link here. So yeah, I'll definitely follow you after the show if I haven't. So yeah, thank you for your comments. On to the midfield. Yeah, McAllister had a day to forget, to be fair. I know the cameraman showed a bit of footage of him on the bench in the second half, and he just looked mad at himself because he had such a terrible performance. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt in terms of, you know, coming from South America, traveling God knows how many hours. I think the players arrived on Friday as well. So Jurgen Klopp, when he did his press conference on Friday afternoon, he said that he didn't actually see any of the players. So that basically just shows, you know, people think Klopp just likes to make excuses, he likes to talk. But if you look at the other teams, especially the top 6, a lot of them don't have as many South American players as we do, for example. So that's something, you know, that has to be put into consideration. Klopp's not just making excuses. It's facts where, you know, international break, and we're the first ones to play midday kickoff, and we've got so many players. Obviously, the Premier League won't change the fixtures for us, but it's worth mentioning, right? So I know, was it James Pearce asking that question? He just Klopp just shut him down nicely. Yeah, them two do not get along at all. But back to the rating. So McAllister, yeah, had an afternoon to forget, to be fair. Just seemed out of pace, lacked energy, just wasn't in tune with the game at all. So unfortunately, I have to give him a low ranking for that. And he was substituted at half time. So I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I know it's a low one, but, you know, we understand why he didn't play to his capabilities. Curtis Jones, interesting one. I feel like first half, he was pretty much missing. Didn't really see him on the ball as much as I would have liked. Second half, he definitely switched it up, but I didn't feel like he had a lot of influence on the game. Whenever I saw Szoboszlai on the ball, for example, like he was making things tick. But with Jones, I feel like he was playing the safer passes, more sideward passes rather than, you know, getting the ball and driving with the ball or threading through balls. Didn't really see much of that from Curtis Jones. So with that being said, I'm going to give him, I'll give him a 6. I think that might be low, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Just going to go through the comments now. And then everybody says, yeah, Klopp was cooking James Pearce. Don't blame him, too fair. The question was a stupid question, in my opinion. So I feel like Klopp actually answered it really well, considering how, you know, he doesn't like James Pearce, number 1. Number 2, a stupid question to ask. But yeah, I feel like he handled it well. You've given Mac a 6, which is fine. And Red, White, and Red says, yeah, Mac a 5. Too bad didn't have a chance to make up. Yeah, I feel like if he played in the second half, I'm sure the ranking would have been a lot better. But yeah, you know, we got the win. So hopefully he's not he's not too downbeat in terms of his individual performance there. And you've given Jones a 7. He did work second half. Yeah, he definitely improved second half. Second half. First half for me, he was just a bit ghost. Didn't really notice him in terms of having any effort, not efforts, or any sort of effect on the game. I would say so. So yeah, in terms of Szoboszlai, yeah, what can I say? This guy could do it all. Can play on the left, on the right, can play the number 6. In this game, he played his number 8 role on the right-hand side. And then as we switched to a 4-2-3-1 in the second half, playing a double pivot. And I don't want him to play in that role because, you know, I feel like he's such an effective player up top and can really cause havoc. But at the same time, I feel like we had to analyze the squad. We didn't really have a ball player like Thiago or Trent to kind of drop in that midfield and do the kind of things we needed from a deep playmaker. But Szoboszlai fitted into that role fantastic, like he's been playing there for a long time. And he was fantastic. Second half, I feel like he really controlled the game. Didn't really waste the ball. His passing was accurate, but it was good passes rather than just, you know, sideward passes. You know, when you see player rankings after a game and it's like 90% because they've kept the possession really well, but he's actually making good passes and still maintaining a high level. So that just shows you what kind of craftsman he is. He's going to be one hell of a player for us. I'm going to say this every week. I know us Liverpool fans, we know it, we can see it, but I can't stop but not say it out loud every week. He's a delight to watch. Definitely someone I look forward to whenever I watch Liverpool now. So an exciting player on our hands there. In terms of his ranking, for him to play his normal role as a right-sided 8, but then adapt as the number 6 for a second half and control the game the way he did, phenomenal. So I'll give him an 8 out of 10. Thought it was fantastic. Just check the comments here as well. And Riley says 6.5. Yep, it's about right. You give him 7.5 for Szoboszlai. That's fine. Uncle Rod gives Mac 10 a 6. That's fair as well, to be fair. Dominic gives 7.5. Szoboszlai 7.5. Poor first half, but killed a second. Yeah, definitely agree. I think even the goal, I think Szoboszlai did try to make a late charge and get Neto, but for me, defensively, it was Matip and Gomez that should have done better there. But to be fair, if I was ranking them based on the first half, everyone would be getting a low score, to be fair. But yeah, I definitely feel like he made up for it. Second half, really impressive in terms of how he played that role, because if you think of an attacking player to just drop into a number 6 and play the way he did, I think he was really, really effective. So got a comment here from Double D. Thanks for comment, Double D. Szoboszlai got better in the second half. First half was his worst since coming, but he's been so good, it was bound to happen. 7 out of 10. Yeah, that's a fair assessment as well. I think a lot of other players were worse, but in terms of, you're saying Szoboszlai so far this season, he set the bar very high for himself. So yeah, it was just one of those games where I feel like everyone was just a bit lost, a bit lackluster, like no one had their Weetabix that morning. It's just, yeah, it was a bit of a mad one, no energies whatsoever. So, but yeah, I'm glad we switched up in the second half. Midday kickoffs are not the one for Liverpool at all, but we've broken that curse. So yeah, great one in that regards. And yeah, you get a couple of people have agreed with your comment. Facts, Dub from Red, White, and Red, and Riley agrees with your comment as well. So yeah, fair assessment. I'm going to stick with my 8 though. I feel like he was really good in this game up top. So let's start off with Jota. Jota had a quiet game again. He has his moments here and there, but I don't know. I wasn't wowed by his performance. I feel like playing against your old boys as well, you should be a bit more up for him, in my opinion. That's how I would be if I was a professional player. But he didn't really show that bite in his play whatsoever. So unfortunately, I'm going to go a bit more of a low ranking. I'm going to give him a 6. In terms of Gakpo, before that goal, I don't feel like he was involved in the game as much. I know he tried to drop deep, but I feel like he's not having as much influence in games as he should. I don't know, maybe that's because of different players around him, maybe adapting to their game, but no, he didn't really. It wasn't influential. The goal was, I think, the goal itself that he scored was obviously the tapping like 2 yards away, but it was the pass that made it happen. I think with Gakpo, however, if he actually stayed on, I think the ranking would definitely been a lot more higher because I feel like he was getting warmed up just before that goal happened. He showed a couple good 1-2s around the box, so I feel like he was warming up. But at that stage, I feel like it was the right time to actually bring on Darwin Núñez. We needed that raw pace, that physical specimen up top, because Gakpo, even though he's a big guy, doesn't really play that role. He's more of a silky player, ball to feet, making half turns and making things happen. Whereas Darwin Núñez, he likes to get stuck in, he pretty much elbowed Dawson to the floor as well. So, but yeah, in terms of Gakpo's performance, I'm going to go 6.5, probably just giving him slightly higher than Jota due to the goal. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Red, white, and red, 6.5 for Jota. Yeah, pretty much thereabouts. Football, sorry, Jota 6, and we've got comment from Football Live. Hello, brother. How you doing? I hope you're well. Emirali, red, white. You got Twitter, so yeah, drop your Twitter, drop your links in there, guys. We're all a community, yeah. So, if you got your own channel, feel free to drop a link. I'll support you guys as always. And then Gakpo 7 for the goal. Yeah, I think that's why I put this game a bit of an edge from Jota. Football Life has given 7 for the goal. Agree? Yeah, definitely. See, we can move on to the next one. So, Mo Salah, interesting one. Had a very quiet game, to be fair. Very, very quiet game. But manages to notch up 2. For us, it's probably 3 assists because the third goal was a pass towards Elliott and then Elliott shot. But I think the Premier League have awarded it as only 2 assists because the third goal is an own goal. So it doesn't count. You can't assist an own goal. But nevertheless, when Mo Salah's in town, another record is broken and he breaks another one. He has broken the record for most assists by an African player. That's 62 assists. I think it was Riyad Mahrez that had that record. So he's no longer in the league. So that's another title for Mo Salah. And I think he's also got 200 goal and assists. So he's, I think, equaled Steven Gerrard, or surpassed Steven Gerrard now. He's got 201. So a couple of records broken, not bad day in the office for Mo Salah. But yeah, I feel like Mo Salah this season, expect to see these type of performances where he's not going to be running down doing, as we like to sing his song. He will be, I think, more calculated in his play now. Maybe not due to his age. I'm not saying he's purposely slowing down or anything. I feel like he's going to be a bit more calculated in terms of how he plays. So making those runs down the wings, it won't be happening a lot. But I feel like depending on opposition, he'll choose his moments when to use the byline or to cut inside. And I feel like he will pretty much not reserve his energy, but go full blast in the second half where legs are tiring. And because we're a ball possession team now, I feel like that's going to play to his hands. So I don't think he'll be top scorer. So I'm just going to make a bold prediction. I don't think he'll be top scorer this season in the Premier League, but I think he will have the highest goals and assist ratios combined. So with assist and goal scoring, I feel like he'll be a top there. So yeah, bold statement, but I genuinely believe he's going to have a good season. Probably, maybe he might even have the highest goal and assist in his Liverpool career so far. So I'm not sure what that number is. I'll check on it and then confirm. But yeah, in terms of performance, Mo Salah, world class. That pass for Gakpo was, I watched it again today. It was just sublime on his weaker foot as well. But it's just the way he executed. It was just inch perfect. And it went through like 3-4 Wolves defenders as well. So I don't feel like he's getting enough plaudits for that pass. It was an outrageous pass on your weaker foot. And then the other ones were great as well. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. So in terms of rankings, let me just go for the comments. 8.5, which is fair. Not 9. Mo, the assist king, yeah. I think he will get the goals, but his assist numbers are going to be crazy this season. That's my viewpoint as well. Salah bipolar performance, didn't defend, lost the ball a lot, but assist 7.5. Yeah. For me, that's why I'm giving him an 8 based on assists. I feel like he had a very quiet game. But hey, look, if you liven up towards the end and get a couple of assists and you help team win, I'm all for it. I'm not too fussed about that. Salah 8.5 from Emirali. Double D 7.5. More assists than Mahrez now. Yep, it's being his record. Salah man of the match to me. That's a fair point as well. I was just really impressed with Robertson in terms of how he played. So that's why I give it to him, because he's not had the best of times, especially in the opening weeks of the season. But it was an all-round game. It was a proper captain's performance. So the armband definitely, I don't know, gave him some superpowers or gave him a boost in the day. But yeah, I think there were a few players that could have had that man of the match. Or to be fair, the Egyptian king, he certainly is. It's different. I agree. I have a humble analysis of it. That's fair as well. So let's quickly review the subs as well. So let's try and remember. So obviously the players that come on, they didn't play in this position, but I'll try and switch it up. So McAllister came off for Diaz. Luis Diaz, yep. I'll place them in their proper positions once I put them all on. And then I think Elliot came on for Jota. And then Darwin Núñez came on for Gakpo. And then it was Kwanzaa came off. Hopefully he's not a big injury. I've not read anything about it, but hopefully it was just cramp or just a small niggle. Had a really good performance. So Konate came on as well. Then we had Gravenberch come on for the last few minutes there. So yeah, let's switch up this formation. So, I forgot to put Darwin Núñez there. Let me put Núñez. There we go. So trying to raise these players now. So we got Diaz on the left, Darwin there, fully play Elliot on the right, and then just put, for presentation purposes, we'll just put Gravenberch as a 10, which I kind of think he did play as well. So in terms of Diaz, yeah, he had a great effect on the game. I think in the first minute he almost scored with the header, which you don't see, but had a great impact on the game. But yeah, he was very lively. I'm glad that he was introduced in the second half. Really worked that left wing. Doherty was on heels that day. Yeah, really, really positive. I'm happy the way Diaz is playing now. I feel like he's playing with a lot more confidence. And this is what I want to see. I want him to be more of an individual player where he shows his flair and his ability, because that's what we want to see as football fans. We want to see those kind of skills on the pitch, because he's definitely got magic in those boots. So hopefully more to come from him. I can see him scoring a lot more goals. He's getting better goal scoring opportunities now. Just needs to be a bit more clinical. But yeah, in terms of his performance, I'm going to give him a 7.5, only because he started half of the game. But yeah, really, really good performance from him. Darwin Núñez. Yeah, Darwin Núñez was good. Made an impact straight away. I'm liking his all-round game now, to be fair. At the start of the season, I probably would have been in favour to have Gakpo start most games, but I actually feel like Núñez just suits us better. Whenever he's on the pitch, we just seem to create abundance of chances. With Gakpo, I think we're in more control of the game. So maybe it's a thing now where Nunes starts games, and once we need a bit more control, we bring on Nunes. Oh, sorry, Gakpo. Kind of similar to how we used Firmino in the last couple of years. So, have Mr. Havoc come on, cause all kinds of trouble against opposition, score a couple of goals, and then you have Gakpo come on. But these two will be rotated throughout the season. They both have unique traits where it would be affected based on who the opposition is. So no. I know people are like, what is the first 11? But I feel like you always have to look at the opposition. So in terms of how he played, yeah, as I said, really impressive all-round game. Hold-up play was much better, really showed his strength and power. Touches improved as well. His passing, like his one-touch passing as well, he's definitely understanding the movement of players around him. So he knows people's game a little bit better now. So he's working the ball really well. He's attacking the channels at the right time. So he drifted on the left a couple of times. Yeah, I think he's showing more intelligence in his play now. Maybe the language barrier is off now, where he's learned English, so he's able to communicate with his players and understand tactics from the coaching staff. But yeah, positive performance from him. So in terms of his ranking, I'm going to give him an 8. I know that might be quite high, but you guys let me know. Maybe getting slightly overboard there, but I was really impressed with his performance. Just going to go through the comments. Agree 7.5, and that's regards to Diaz. Appreciate that. Nunes 7.5 as well. Red, White, and Red says he gives every sub a 7. All probably should have started. Yeah, fair point. I think that was down to a selection, I would say, in terms of players coming from international duty. So yeah, definitely. I think another week they probably would have started, to be fair. Football, as it is, different dynamics. Yeah, that's fair as well. Another comment here from Double D. Darwin had 3 chances to slot Robbo in. If we never won, I'd be on his back. Man is playing on his own up there. LMLO. Yeah, he is. But I don't know. I've been impressed in terms of how Darwin is playing, to be fair. Showing more power and strength in his hold-up play, which he had. We've seen it when he played for Benfica, but he's showing it more this season. So yeah, just a normal comment here from Mirali. So yeah, just got one more comment here from Mirali. You think we're getting an additional centre back in January? I've already seen links with, is it Hincapie from Bayer Leverkusen? I don't know. I would like for that to happen. I'm not sure if it will, to be fair. It might be a similar thing where if there's interest around the player, we might just bring the summer plans ahead and do it in January, because that's what we've been doing for the last couple of years. We did it with Diaz and Gakpo. But Hincapie is an interesting profile, to be fair. Pacey player, left-footed, centre-back, but can play left-back as well. Back 3, back 4, getting coached by Alonso, who some have, touted as the next Liverpool manager. So, we'll see when that time happens. I would like for that addition to happen. I don't know. It's too early to say at this stage. We've also been linked with Andre as well to play from the player from Fluminense, who could be coming in January, as there's apparently been discussions. I think it will just depend in terms of where we are as a club in that position. Just got another comment. You would take Inacio. Fair enough. I think his release cost has increased now, hasn't it, to 65 million. So yeah, we could have got him for a lot cheaper, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And so you'd also love Andre. Yeah, we'll see. It's too early. It's too early in terms of transfers to say who would come in. But yeah, the areas would definitely be a centre back, and I think a centre mid. Maybe in terms of looking for a replacement of Thiago, who I don't think will be given a new contract end of the season. He's not even available right now. So I won't see that happening anytime soon. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then just got a few more players to rank. So got Elliot. Elliot, for me, I like it when he comes on. He definitely shows energy, has an impact on the game. He's not just doesn't just come in there to make up the numbers. He actually does well. He does his best. Unlucky not to actually be awarded with the goal. I know he's going wide, but come on, give the attacker the advantage there. But fortunately, didn't get the goal there. So with that said, I will give him a 7 out of 10. And then who else have we got to rank? So we've got Kanate. Kanate came on for like 10 minutes, so I couldn't really give him a huge ranking as such. So I'll just give him a safe 6 there. Same with Gravenberch. I can't give him a low ranking either. So I'll just give him a 6. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. So that's the player ratings there. We've got a couple guys that want to come on, so we can actually try and bring both of them on together. So we've got Mama and Uncle Roz, who have been sending their comments on the Splash. Uncle Roz, Fama, how's it going, guys?
I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, thank you for coming on the channel. Good to have you on.
No problem.
Fama, how's it going?
Not bad itself.
Yeah, not bad. We'll start with you, Fama. What would you like to say? Can you hear me, Fama?
Can't hear you.
Not sure you can hear us. I think he's having some connection issues there, so we'll come back to you. Uncle Roz, give me your thoughts on the games. What did you think?
Well, the first half was very indifferent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very different. It was like very indifferent, and none of the players covered themselves in glory. Do you know what I mean? You know, but however, you know, towards the end of the first half, they kind of like got themselves together a bit. I think it was solely because of playing McAllister as a DM. I think the game was passing him by when he was playing in that role. Do you know what I mean? And Klopp actually said it today. He made a mistake in the team selection. You know what I mean? He did hold his hand and said, "Look, I made a mistake." So he probably was referring to McAllister. Number one at the day, you know, obviously playing in Bolivia, which is like 3,000 meters, so sea level, and that, you know what I mean? It's just it's ridiculous. You need, so sometimes you need an oxygen mask. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So yeah, so you know that didn't help, and then obviously playing him as a DM wasn't the done thing. Do you know what I mean? But I think as the end of the first half sort of like was coming to the end, it was like we started to kind of like get a hold on the game, and then obviously in the second half now, he kind of like, you know, he obviously changed up, we rejigged it, and we started to get more of a hold in the game. Do you know what I mean? You know, and obviously the likes of Gomez, he upped his game. To be honest, I didn't think Gomez had a bad game because considering that today nobody could have covered himself in glory in the first half. Do you know what I mean? You know, I didn't really think he had a bad game. I mean, Neto is a good player. Do you know what I mean? He's not made the best of them. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I couldn't really sort of like put any emphasis on Gomez because he did finish off strongly in the game. Do you know what I mean? You know? Yeah. But I just thought in the day, sort of like, look, in the second half, we showed what we was all about. Do you know what I mean? We started playing, and we started finding our men, and we stopped giving away the ball like we did in the first half. We was giving away the ball and stuff. And I think overall in the day, it was like a good performance because you see what it is with Wolves at the day is this: when you're pressing and not giving sort of like a team space in there, right? You have to be able to do that for 90 minutes plus.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they can't do that. You know, like we can. Because remember at the day, like we have double training sessions and that's all because of that. Because we want our fitness level to be up there, so we can press for 90 minutes plus. You understand what I'm saying? Other teams can't do that. Newcastle found that out. You know what I mean? They couldn't do that for 90 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And then we got the rewards in the end with Darwin Núñez. Do you know what I mean? So it takes a special team at the end of the day to do this pressing at the day for 90 minutes plus. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Fair play to Wolves. I think they will win a couple of games. I'm tipping them to stay up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like when it come up against sort of like the likes of Liverpool, which are the pressing merchants, you have to know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And I actually thought the game and they was a bit in different first half because I did a watch along in the film and I was like, oh my god, do you know what I mean? One of them ones, you know what I mean? So like, I was pleased in the second half. I was pleased like the way they started playing. Cody Gakpo started to get in position, and he scored his goal. I love that player, and as you said at the day when Darwin Núñez come on, he started to make things happen, didn't he?
Yeah.
He started to make things happen. He started to make the space. He's a bit unlucky with his goal chance. Do you know what I mean? He's done everything right. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
He was like if he'd have scored that goal, that'd have been, oh my god.
We were raving about it right now, to be fair. No, I feel the good touch as well. I think, just the finish was blocked, unfortunately. But you make a good point about the energy levels, because I think it's a Gary O'Neill trait as well, because last season we played Bournemouth and they just showed that same kind of pressing ability as well. But in terms of this team, maybe he doesn't have that personnel to do it, on a 90-minute basis, like you mentioned. So I had a feeling that I wasn't worried in the second half. I thought, things can't get worse in terms of how he performed. I did feel like second half we will improve. And it was quite evident that their legs weren't quite there because they're not used to playing that type of football week in, week out. It was just a tactic that was deployed by Gary O'Neill, who's like, look, let's go get in their faces. Let's try and ruin their game. But, for 90 minutes. And the beautiful thing about our squad right now, we've got so many options, different types of players that can come on, make an impact on the game. And it's like, we've not had that for such a long time. So we've like Salah. Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm sorry to cut you. I just think at the day, sort of like, with the players that sort of like Klopp's buying and Klopp's buying those players and that can play along that midfield. Do you understand what I'm saying? On all different parts of the midfield. So you may see as the season goes on, you may see sort of like a Szoboszlai pop up as a DM. Do you know what I mean? You may see Gravenberch pop up as DM. Do you know what I mean? You may see McAllister again pop up as a DM. Do you know what I mean? And or as an 8 or as a 7. Do you know what I mean? Or even probably a 10.
Yeah.
Depending on what tactics did they play.
Yeah.
You see, what it is, I always say this at the end of the day, it's right having that money and buying players.
Yes.
But the players that you're buying, is it what you need? And when you look at yourself, you think you'll say it and they, nah, we don't really need that player,
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But we've brought players in that we need. We need a Gravenberch. We need a McAllister. We need a Szoboszlai. We need an Endo. And then hopefully, touch wood, hopefully in January, we bring in Andre and we bring in Nkepe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we bring in then, the set's done. We don't have to worry about our team for a while.
It's true, especially like looking at next summer, the option would be a centre back and a centre mid. But if we get them in Jan, we've got the complete squad, which we've never. I don't think under Klopp's reign we've ever had. We've never had a complete squad. There's always been a season where we never had a backup for Salah. In the end, I guess it was Shaqiri at some point. Then we didn't have a left back for a while, and then we brought in Tsimikas. Remember, we had to sell Lovren to finance that move as well. So no, look, I feel like in terms of numbers, we've got a good amount of players this year. I'm excited. In terms of McAllister, I'm so excited. In terms of McAllister, what would you say is his best role in the team? Because I know he's probably more of a natural 8, but I feel like if you look at the personnel in our squad, I feel like number 6, I feel like is the role he will play more games than any other sort of position, in my opinion. What do you think about that?
I think you're right. I think he probably would play a 6 more to our to. I mean, we won't be happy about it because I think in the day in the 6 role he looks a bit lost. Do you understand what I'm saying? He looks a bit lost in that role. But however, at the end of the day, right? If I was Klopp, I will play more as a 7 or 8, 7 or 8 or 10. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where you get the best out of him. Do you know what I mean? Because I think when he was in pre-season and he come on and he was playing in the 7 role, the pass he made for sort of like for Jota was sublime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where he does his best work. And then if you put him in a position and that he can sort of like dictate the game, he can pass, he can do this, he can do that.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, when he has to run back and defend and sort of like stay back and stuff, do you know what I mean? You know, I don't think you get the best out of him, because what it was at the day, he was staying back, then he was going forward at the day, right? And then players was just like running past him. Do you know what I mean? And he had to kind of like rashly bring them down. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not used to playing in that role. I don't think that is the role for him. I will more like to see him in 7 or 8 or 10. Do you know what I mean? You know, them kind of roles there and that. You know what I mean? And then obviously at the day, you know, you got Endo, and you just have to play him more. You just have to play him more till January, until you get sort of like Andre, because you check it now, right? If we got Andre in, as a DM, so that we got him in the summer, no doubt on them day, right? McAllister won't be playing that sort of like that role. He wouldn't be playing that role. It'd be Andre all the time. It's because of the day, sort of like Endo is 30 years old, and like Klopp is thinking that day, I don't really want to burn him out. Do you know what I mean? You know, because he's probably, you know, let's be real about it. It's probably coming towards the end of his career in the next 3 or 4, maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to burn him out, because not everybody can be a Milner. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Not everybody can Rambo Milner, you know. Rambo Milner. That's Rambo. That's Liverpool's very own Rambo. But like, interesting stat actually, you know, interesting stat. And then day, right? He's the only player to be in a winning team at the day, beating Man United at Old Trafford 4 times with 4 different clubs. Yeah. One second.
No problem. We'll get Fama in. I think his connection's back now. So Fama, how's it going?
Not bad. Yourself? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Give me your thoughts on the game. What did you think of the game overall?
Oh man, I think we need to buckle up like on some blood pressure pills. It's gonna be a roller coaster for the next, I would say, another 5 games. See, the good and bad thing about that I like about Klopp is he's not scared to take risks and even experiment, even in big games sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. But with the bigger games like against Man City or in Champions League, it's more of a calculated risk that he takes. But with the little bit smaller team, all respect to, you know, like to Wolves, he can take a little bit more risk. He has an awesome headache. It's a headache that you want to have, which is the options and whatnot. The 2 players in the mid, your number 8 and number 10, those are the players that controls the tempo of the game. It's not your number 6. Your number 6 is your just
destroyer.
Engine. Yes, that's your vacuum. That's your back. He just connects the 2, the midfield 2 with the defenders. But number 8 and number 10, those are your tempos. So imagine that you have a stove and you have 2 dials for the same stove.
I like that. Yeah.
You're going to go out of sync, right? So if you have a Szoboszlai and a McAllister over there,
we'll cook it.
Both of them cooking at the same time. You may go out of rhythm, right? But if you find the good chemistry and the balance between both of them in 8 and 10, oh my God. Oh my God. We're going to have the best midfield. I would put Endo. I would put Gravenberch. I would put anyone in the 6.
Yeah.
With these 2 guys at the front. I totally agree with you, Uncle Rods. Like McAllister, to get the best out of him, he needs to be in an 8 or
an 8. Yeah.
I just think at the day with McAllister, as I was saying before you come back on, I think McAllister, when you put him in the 6, the game passes him by, and then what he has to do, he has to make rash challenges because these players are getting past him because he's not naturally used to doing that. Do you know what I mean? You know, and the stat I was saying that the day before I had to go was the fact that Milner is the first player that's come to Old Trafford and beat Man United at Old Trafford with 4 different clubs.
Yeah.
Was it Aston Villa, Man City, Liverpool, and Brighton? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Seriously, he's made history. He's made history.
That's a serious stat. I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, 4 different clubs because he fluctuated between Villa and Newcastle, didn't he? Villa and Newcastle, and they Villa beat Man United at sort of like Old Trafford back in the day. And then he obviously went on to Man City and they beat him on Old Trafford, and he come to us and we beat him on Old Trafford. And then yesterday, Brian, what a good day yesterday. What a good
day. They're in the mud.
Roller coaster, man. It was a roller coaster day yesterday. It was the day of comebacks, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of Liverpool, so a lot of fans are kind of divided in terms of who should be sort of like our starting striker in terms of Gakpo, Nunes. I'm on that boat where I feel like you have to look at the opposition and then select the players based on that. But what are your thoughts in terms of who should be, I guess, the primary player on the team sheet? I'll go with you, Uncle Roz, first.
You made a good point at the day earlier on when he was doing the play rating. When you touched on Darwin Núñez, you said, like, you know, I'll be happy to see Gakpo start, and then sort of like, you know, if the game's not going their way or like you just wanted to change it, you bring Darwin Núñez on. Because I think he creates so much chances for other players. Do you know what I mean? His speed and his, you know, his physical strength. Do you know what I mean? As I said, we was just talking about the fact that he was unlucky with his chance that he had early on in the game. Do you know what I mean? You know, he's very unlucky. And then, you know, obviously he comes on against Newcastle and then bags 2 goals when we need it. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
So I see Darwin Núñez playing more in the Europa Cup than what I do in the league. You know what I mean? I think what's going to happen in the league, he's going to be more of a substitute, but in the Europa Cup, he'll be a starter. Because I think what he'd be able to do is sort of like in Europa Cup, it's just blow teams away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just be able to blow teams away. Do you know what I mean? You know, with his pace and his physical strength. I don't think the Europa Cup is ready for it. Do you know what I mean? And when you look at sort of like the squad at the end of the day that's picked for the Europa Cup, you can actually tell at the end of the day, right, that Klopp wants to win that tournament. He's not messing about it. He wants to win that tournament. You just look at the teams that the squad that he's picked, and you know that he means business. Do you know what I mean? So I would more or less in the league start with Gakpo and bring Núñez on later. But in this Europa Cup, and if you're gonna play him in the FA Cup or you know, FA Cup and sort of like saying FA Cup and League Cup, you can start him then. But like Europa Cup, I'll be saying to Darwin, I say, listen, this Europa Cup, this is your thing. This is you. This is you. Go out there and make me proud. Do you know what I mean? One of them ones. That's how I would.
No, I agree with your point there in terms of playing Núñez in the Europa League. I feel like in European football, the sort of the back four, they're a bit more open in comparison to how we are in the Premier League. We play a bit more compact. So I feel like his style of play just suits that to the T, where he'll play on the shoulder and really get through the defenses, and they won't they don't know what to do. They won't know what to do in terms of trying to stop him, or you know, they can try and run him over with a bus. It's not going to happen. He's gonna go through them. So you know what? I know, you know, we don't want to be in a Europa League, but I'm excited to see how we do, because, like you said, the squad that Klopp selected, he wants to win that. You know, his first year we didn't get it. Unfortunately, we lost that final against Sevilla, But that would be another one to complete the set, I guess.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
To win all the trophies. So no, I definitely co-sign to what you said there. Fama, who would you say is the primary forward in our team, or would it be based on the opposition?
I kind of agree with Uncle Rod's. Like, I would rotate between them depending on the opposition, depending on the competition as well, and what Klopp is trying to accomplish from that game or that competition. So, if a team is sitting back and how can I say it? Like, if we're playing that, we're pushing that team and we're playing position football, I think Gakpo is a little bit better.
Yeah.
But if we're playing like on counterattacks, Nunes is better. Nunes has the more physicality and more body. I think it was the third goal that kind of showed his physicality. I really like that from him.
Yeah, Dawson felt that.
Yeah, exactly.
He was on the floor.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna depend on like the competition and the opposite team and what kind of style that he think that is gonna work for us. It's a really, as I say, again, that's another position that we have an awesome headache, a good headache to have.
Yeah.
Multi-tool, yeah.
No, I agree. It's a great headache to have, especially for Klopp. I don't think we've been blessed with those type of options in the past where, and I don't mean any disrespect, so we've had players like the likes of Origi on the bench where I feel like he was great as a super sub or was an impact player. But when he started games, he didn't really have that impact on the pitch. So we've got two players that can literally make an impression in any game whenever they start. So that's a great headache to have. As a collection, I probably think...
Saying, like, obviously with Origi at the end of the day, it's a prime example of what we're saying. Do you know what I mean? It's like, having a striker for certain games because, like, where he was a good super sub, but then you remember games like Barcelona where he scored 2 goals. You remember the game against Everton when he scored 2 terrific goals against Everton, and certain other games where he started at the day that, and like he's had a good start and he's scored. And there's been other games that he started and hasn't really done so well. But however, he's come on as a sub in other games at the day and like scored vital goals. Do you understand what I'm saying? Champions League final and day when he scored that goal in Champions League final. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I was up in Liverpool and I went to this big arena in Liverpool to watch it. I'm telling you, that was the best day I've had in years. Me and my brother, and like I remember the days like before he scored. There was a woman next to me and she goes to me, because I think we just missed a chance or something. We just missed a chance. I don't know if it was a Milner or whatever, but we just missed a chance. And it was growing into the game. And she said to me, she goes, "Oh, we need a goal. We need a goal and everything now." And as soon as you said that, Origi popped up on the goal. 6,000, I'm telling you, 6,000 people at the day. It was mayhem. It was mayhem. Do you know what I mean? Everybody was just jumping and cheering and drinks were going everywhere and he didn't even care. He just didn't even care the drinks were going everywhere. But it's just the fact that in days like Origi in some games at the day, he can be that sort of like that game changer. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where he brought as a sub. But then sometimes like when he was starting at the day, he can actually impact the game. Do you know what I mean? Or not. So I think it's kind of like having the right player for the right game, as we were saying. Do you know what I mean?
I think Nunes kind of fits that profile as well. I think he was probably a slight upgrade in terms of Origi's output, I would say, but in terms of potential as well, I think Nunes has his ceiling's very high. So I feel like we've got a player there where I think we've nurtured him really well. I know there was a lot of pressure on him when he first joined. It's not coming from us fans. I would say it's coming more from the outside where, we all know he's 65 million, but it was like, he's an 85 million player. He's got to hit the ground running, all that sort of stuff. But he's come from a different country, a new league, couldn't speak the language. So he's obviously understanding tactics wasn't quite there. He's showing off now, speaking a bit of English in these videos here and there. So he's getting accustomed to the culture now. So, this year I definitely feel he'll score a lot of goals. Now you mentioned celebration there. Let me ask you to your question. If you had to make a prediction, where do Liverpool finish end of the season in the Premier League?
Listen, listen.
Number one always, man.
Listen. You know what it is, name, right? I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Yeah.
It's up to you, Uncle Ron.
I don't want to say it, but between us Reds in the day, right? I was thinking yesterday, I think we can win the title, you know. I think we can win the title. So I've just got that feeling, do you know what I mean? But I don't want to say for definite yet. But I've got this kind of feeling inside me, and right, listen, went to Champions League final and then they against Real Madrid, yeah? Right?
Yeah.
And we lost. We didn't play too bad, but we lost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, the thing with Salah and all that. But what I was impressed with Mane, the way he took hold of that game, you know what I mean, and played. And everybody was, I mean, most of the people in the day sort of like was, when we lost, was, you know, obviously down and dumps, you know what I mean? Obviously because it's lost. And my brother was there with me, a lifelong Red as well, lifelong Red. He was with me and he said like, oh man, we lost, man. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you angry? Lost. I said, listen. I goes, I'm not angry because you know what? If we get in the Champions League final next season, we are winning it. I said to him, we are winning it. Mark my words, we are winning it. What happened? Next season, we won it.
We won.
You know what I mean? And I had that feeling as well. That same season we won it, I had that feeling that we're going to win the league. Yeah? We went on and won the league the season. You know what I mean? But I just get these, and even the last time we was in the Champions League, right? I had a feeling that day we weren't going to win it. Because I had sort of like reminiscence of like 2007. Remember 2007?
Yeah, AC Milan. Yeah.
We was playing fantastic football and we got all the way to the final and we lost against AC Milan that time there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I actually thought it was going to be another one of those seasons at the day where we, you know, we get there, but we just don't win it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got this sneaky feeling inside me that we might win the league. But listen, at the day, right? I would say second for now.
No, you gotta say a chest on for us.
All right. Here we go. Now, listen, we're gonna win the league with chest.
That's what I like.
Listen, you know what? If we beat Man City, yeah. If we beat Man City at home,
yeah,
and we kind of like get a draw at the end of the day at their ground, which we don't want to get a draw, but we want to beat them. But worst case scenario, we get a draw, but we win all the games around us. Listen, we're gonna win the league, man. You'll never walk alone when we win the league. And if we if we don't win the league, if we don't win it, I will take the L. Yeah, I will take the L. I said, all right, then you know what? We didn't win it, but you know what? Yeah. We're gonna win the league, man. Fuck it. I don't care.
You co-sign as well?
Well, I think I'm not gonna go if. I'm hoping that we're gonna win the league. I think we have a really good shot this year.
Yeah.
And if not, sorry, I have to say the F. It's stuck on my tongue. Next year, it will be a really, really good chance for us to win the league because we will get the chemistry with the new players coming in. Everybody will fit in nicely. They will know what's expected from them and what to do. Few players coming in like Nunes. I wanted to make a little comment about Nunes in language. I play scrimmage with a bunch of my friends, and I invited one of my friends, and he doesn't speak Arabic. Arabic is my first language, by the way.
Yeah.
And most of the guys we were playing, most of us speak Arabic. And my friend, he doesn't speak Arabic. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
But as he was playing with us, we were talking to each other in Arabic. And a lot of times he was just stopped. He stopped and he's just looking at us, not understanding what we're saying, So it kind of like crippled him a little bit. Right? Or if he was supposed to pass, he didn't pass, he took a shot. Or when we screamed like shoot, but instead he thought that we're saying pass. So he passed instead of shooting. Right?
Yeah.
Language can be a really big barrier, especially like on the field. On the field,
Definitely.
adrenaline is going through your body, so your decision making is not optimal.
Yeah.
Is not it's not 100%, right? So when the adrenaline is pumping throughout your body and you're speaking, like your first language, and the other person does not understand that language really good, they may not, how can I say it will take them a little bit more time to process or try to process
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
saying to them. So that will slow you down. That will cripple you a
Mm.
little bit, right? So I think with Nunes, there is big potential. He is,
Yeah.
I think he's an Origi V 2.0. He's
Mm.
more than just a last 10 minutes or a
Yeah.
halftime player. The potential is really big. He's still young. He's learning the language. Like he's so talented and skillful. So with Nunes, Gakpo, young players, talented,
Yeah.
Soboslai coming in, McAllister. I'm hoping McAllister be a little bit up front. Oh man,
Mm.
that guy can him or between him and Soboslai can be. We can have two KDBs, like in our midfield. Seriously,
The Gundogan and KDB combo. That's what I feel like it can be.
I know, man. We can have two. So I would say if we get second this season, I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna be, 100% happy, but then I will look really forward for next season.
Mm.
But
I think
something, sorry to
yeah.
go across, something with Nunes, and what a lot of people don't understand is that when he was with Benfica, and they had a bit of an advantage because the Spanish and the Portuguese is very similar. Do you know what I mean? They have similar words and stuff. So for him to sort of like understand instructions in Portuguese at the day, right, was very easy for him. He even speaks Portuguese himself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Portuguese and Spanish right now. That same with Luis Diaz. Do you know what I mean? But then when you come to like a country in a day like England, where the language is not similar to Portuguese,
No.
it's not similar to Spanish in the day, to process it,
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be very hard, isn't it? I mean, all right then, like what's that guy's name? What's our number two's name? The number two. Linders, yeah, Pep Linders, yeah. Well, Pep Linders, he's from Holland, right? But he spent time in Portugal,
Yeah.
in Porto. He speaks Spanish and Portuguese. However, when you're on the pitch and day, right? Yeah, Pep Linders cannot be on the pitch with you. Do you know what I mean? And tell you this and tell you that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's down to your players to tell you and they like pass, shoot, or this and that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, man, in training, it could be all right. Because then they sort of like, if Klopp says something to him that he doesn't understand, Pep Linders can translate to him and say, well, look, blah, 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 whether in Spanish or Portuguese or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you're on the pitch for 90 minutes plus in a day, right, you depend on your players in the day to tell you, give you instructions and say, look, do this and do that. And if there's a language barrier, it's gonna be hard. That's what I'm trying to say. It's gonna be hard. So I think in the day, as you said, a lot of the criticism that he got was from outside noise. It was outside noise. Do you know what I mean? Right? And obviously some fans in Liverpool base and everything that, but like the majority of the Liverpool fan group was saying that they give him a chance.
Yeah,
it's his first season. Give him a chance. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you're trying to judge him off KDB. Do you know what I mean? Not KDB, Haaland. Because Haaland and done this and done that. And what a lot of people don't realise that Haaland was born in England. He grew up in England and then went to Norway because his dad used to play for Man City.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he grew it. He knows the culture. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's very easy for someone, a Haaland, to adjust. Now you've got a guy in there that's come from Uruguay via Portugal and come to England and everything like that, right? You cannot expect him to adjust like that. He just cannot be done.
That's a very valid point. I feel like people missed that, actually, that he was You know, I think people forget that he was actually born. I think it was in Leeds or Manchester because
Leeds.
played for both clubs. So that's a big point. Look, for me, I've done a Premier League prediction show. I've actually said Liverpool's going to win the league, so that's probably been clipped at some point. So I'm saying it with chest as well. I feel like Liverpool will win the league, and I'm looking at Man City's squad. I don't actually think the quality is there in comparison to last year's, due to the fact that their midfield is It's Phillips, who's injury prone.
I got this today.
Rodri, but obviously Rodri, it will depend on his sort of fitness. I think he will stay. If he's gone, then because look, Kevin De Bruyne is out for 5 months, so he won't be back until February, March. And you know when you have that kind of injury as well, it takes you a while to find that rhythm. So for me, you can kind of think that Kevin De Bruyne is not in that team. So they've got the likes of Phillips, Rodri, Kovacic, who's injury prone, just like Phillips as well.
Yeah.
So if these players aren't there fully fit, they don't really have much of a midfield. So midfield is their kind of Achilles heel right now, where if 1 or 2 players go, they don't have the strength in depth. I think for us would probably be the defense, where if Van Dijk or Konate weren't available, we'd have to rely on Joe Gomez and Matip. But those two are also injury prone as well. And then we've got young Kwanzaa. But Kwanzaa, the way he played against Wolves, for me, it looks like he can do the job. So it's not as weak as we probably initially thought before the season started. So, and also in terms of our number 6 position, I know McAllister's not playing further up as all 3 of us would like, but he can still do a job. And let's say he's not available for that number 6 role. We've got Endo that can do that job. I know we haven't seen much of him, but he's a destroyer. That's what he's made of, really. We've got Thiago, who can play at number 6. He played there for Bayern Munich, can play there, even if it's not as a double pivot, but he can still play that role, or he can play as an 8. Bajtic, he can play that role as well. We've got numbers for all of these positions that are key areas for us to win the league. And up top, you know the names in terms of who we have up top.
Of course we do.
We've got a good collection of players, I'm telling you. So I'm not even just saying it to be biased. I genuinely feel like we have a strong squad. Obviously, if we add an Andre and a Hincapié in January, that'd be phenomenal, by the way. But even right now, we still have the numbers to compete, in my opinion. So
yeah.
So look, I don't blame fans for look. I said that we were going to win the leagues. I've done a whole show, a 2-hour show, so I can't take that back. It's on YouTube now. So I said it out loud, and I'm saying it here again. So I genuinely believe it. I've got United fans that are like, it's okay not to be biased, but I genuinely believe we have a good squad. Last year, I think I was hoping that Liverpool would challenge, but we just never signed the right players for me, like the midfielders. We ended up with a hologram in Artemelo, who was never there, so
15 minutes.
It's like Bigfoot,
I know, he just went missing, like we never heard of him after that. So
yeah, it's like Bigfoot, everybody heard about him, but nobody saw him, right?
He's a myth. We don't know. Is he real? Is he not? We don't know. He's a myth. So yeah, we just didn't recruit well last year, but this season I think we've recruited really well in terms of
we have.
WOLLIV, Gravenberch as well. That was a nice surprise at deadline day. I'm excited.
You know what is it day, right? So to cut you, I've always been an advocate at the day of Sabozlai coming to Liverpool. I've always liked that player because I think in the day he's a sort of player, and he's a Klopp player. That is a Klopp player that can do multiple stuff at the day in midfield, multiple positions. I would say in midfield, and doing very well. And he's young as well. 21 years old, he's young. You know what I mean? And this is what people have got to realize at the day is like what Klopp is building at the day in that midfield. He's building a midfield at the day that can go for like 10 years. You understand what I'm saying? Because that guy was it Andre at the day, right? He's only about 22, 23. He comes in. Hincapié, he's only 21. Do you know what I mean? And he's a left-sided defender. Do you know what I mean? So what he's doing literally today, right, is he's trying to build another dynasty to say, right, you know what? If I do leave in 2 years' time, I've left you with something.
Yeah.
Now it's down to you now, and then to sort of like cultivate that team. He's not like leaving us with nothing. He's leaving us something. And personally, as well, I think he stays on above those 2 seasons. I'll say it right now. He stays on above those 2 seasons. If he wins, yeah. Let's say, for instance, if he does a double, yeah, right,
yeah,
he wins the Europa Cup and he wins the league, yeah, this season. Let's say he does that, and if like, can you honestly see him going? And I can't see him going. I'm sorry, I cannot see him going, and that's me. The more he wins at the day, right?
Yeah.
Right, if it was last season at the day, if last season was like the deadline, I could probably say yeah, right then, because at the day, we had a open season, and for that, maybe just sort of like get away. Do you know what I mean? I could fine because you have brought us some like spectacular, amazing moments. But after building a team like this, yeah, right, that can go for another 10 years, and then actually winning something in the season, yeah, of significance in the day, I don't see him going.
Do you know what? I kind of agree with you, because I feel like the way he's bringing this team up right now, obviously it's 2.0 right now, but I feel like that would actually excite him even more. He'll be thinking, why would I walk away from building a team? Like let's say we do win a few trophies in the next couple of years. I can't see him walking away. He'll be thinking, this team is like better than the first version. Like this team is better than, he might think in that regards, like, do you know what? This team can really do amazing stuff. So, and he's picking, like you mentioned, actually, Uncle Roz, where the players that we recruited in the summer, they fit the profile in terms of how Klopp plays football. We're not like Chelsea. We're not like Man United that just buy players for the sake of buying players or just buying names. They're just buying random players thinking that, they'll do the job. We'll fit them in somehow. Like Mason Mount playing number 6. When have you seen that ever happen? So things like that, where we're actually buying players that fit the model, and they're all versatile as well, which is great because it's all good finding a player that plays one position. But over the last, I would say, probably the turn of this year, we've played different formations. We played a couple of times 4-2-3-1, which we did against Wolves in the second half. We played 4-3-3, which is our primary formation, 3-2-2-3. So we're playing different roles, inverted fullbacks here and there. We've got players in the squad to accommodate those different systems and tactics. I don't want to throw shade at former players, but if we had the likes of Fabinho and Henderson, I don't think they'll be easily adaptable to those different roles, because Fabinho is a destroyer. He can't really play centre mid. I know people will say, he plays right back for Monaco, but that was in his younger days. Like, as you get older, your legs go sometimes. So that's not going to happen with him. He's not a right back. He's never played right back. Henderson, for me, his energy levels were very low last year, and that was one of his strongest traits. Right now, we've got Szoboszlai, who has the engine to match both of these guys from their prime days, but it's what he has on the ball, like technique and that sort of like X factor in terms of how he plays football. Like, he's a special player. I'm glad you said it, Uncle Ross, because I've been saying it for months that we should sign Szoboszlai, but I genuinely didn't think it was a realistic target on the basis of that he had a high release clause. Like, I knew about the release clause, but people were like, it's a secret. I knew about it months ago, so who am I? I'm just a content creator, but I did know he had a release clause. So I'm just glad we executed that deal, because in world football, and I don't want to say big statements, but the only one that can kind of match him is a Jude Bellingham. I don't feel there's anyone out there that can really match his capability in terms of that age group, because I think he's only a couple years older than him, because there aren't many players out there. And then for 60 million,
it was a thing with Szoboszlai, where they tried to sort of negotiate and obviously get it for sort of like a cheaper price. Obviously RB Leipzig, and they were sort of like, sticking to their guns and saying, look, now we want this money. And there was a race against time, because if they waited till after 12 on that Friday, and then it goes up, doesn't it? The buy goes up. Yeah. So you're gonna probably be paying something like 90 million. Do you know what I mean? For the buyer. So they said, just say sod it, you know what? Here's your money, mate. Let's get a player, and we brought him in. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's just what he's doing. What I'm most impressed with, and He's buying players. I mean, obviously, apart from sort of like Endo. I mean, I think Endo was brought in at the day for his experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His older experience for
Yeah.
the young players and that. So, but if you take Endo out of that mix and you're looking at a team he's building and day for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if we do get Andre and day in January, then the set is complete.
It is, yeah.
Along with Endo, the set is complete. Now you've got 2 DMs now.
Yeah.
You've got 2 DMs in the day, so you won't have to play McAllister in a 6. You won't have to do it because at the end of the day you got your 2 DMs now. So you just rotate between like Andre and Endo. Just rotate between them. Share the games. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Do you know what I mean?
Nice pick as well in the mix.
You know what I mean? So that's what, and Bressage, and hit Bressage as well. And then obviously at the day, so like then you got competition for the 7 with McAllister and Thiago, or the 8, Thiago, Sabozalai, Gravenberch, Sabozalai.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden now and day you got so much options in there and everything that. This is why I'm saying it today is that we do stand a good chance of winning the league because we got, for the first time in a long time we got so much options that day in midfield and also in attack.
Yeah.
Also in attack, we got enough options in attack. We got Jota, we got Diaz, we got Gappo, we got Nunes, we got Salah, we got Ben Doak. That's 6.
Yeah, don't sleep on him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 6 attackers at the front that you can rotate with. If you bring in Nketiah, right? If you bring in them, right? You got options in defense now because you got Joe Gomez, you got Matip, you got Konate, you got Virgil van Dijk, Nketiah, you got Kwanzaa. Do you know what I mean? You got like Tsimikas, you got like Robertson, you got like Trent. Do you understand what I'm saying? All of a sudden, your whole team at the day, you got options now. I mean, you haven't had that for a long time, and I think that's one of the things that that probably could have like stopped us from getting over that line.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Getting over the line, that final push that we needed, and is having options in there. Because what you think about when you think about when Man City they had options, when the midfield at the day was getting stale. What happened? Gundogan came in and everything and revived that midfield and started scoring goals at the latter half of the season. You know what I mean? You know, that's what got them over the line, having that option there. You know what I mean? And we, unfortunately didn't have it. Do you know what I mean?
So true. Even like we were, recently, not so long ago, challenging for quad. So if we had a more of a complete squad, who knows? Maybe we could have got that over the line as well. So you're right. Over the years, it's always been, we just don't have the complete squad. Like this year, I feel like we have the numbers, so we can kind of say it's a complete squad. But if we add Andre or Hincapi to it, that completely like sorts us out for a good few years, to say the least. So it's got a few comments here, guys. So Red, White, and Red says, I think Linders takes over after Klopp, and this is his future we're building right now. Guys, what do you think about that one?
I'll let you come in there.
For sure, man. No, I don't think so. Linders is awesome, but he's an awesome assistant coach. Not the main guy. He's an awesome, like I would say, he would be the best second coach. I don't know. I would love to see Xabi Alonso.
That's who I want as well. Yeah.
Man, oh man. I see the Bundesliga. I used to watch it maybe 10 years ago when freaking Klopp was coaching Borussia Dortmund at that time. And the team he built, he had Gundogan, he had Lewandowski, he had Aubameyang. He had a lot of these names that, those
big
were
names,
under Klopp.
He had Sauce. He had Sauce.
That was the Bundesliga that a lot of people watched. Like it was exciting. It was the heavy metal. But anyway, every now and then I watch, like maybe highlights from the Bundesliga, and what Xabi Alonso did De Zerbi, oh my God, that guy. I'm falling in love with De Zerbi as well. But
Okay.
for Xabi Alonso, what he did with Bayer Leverkusen, by the way,
Yeah.
they were at the bottom of the league when he
Bottom of
took
the league.
over.
Yeah. Mm.
Took him maybe, I think it was about 8 games, and he was at the top half of the league within
Yeah.
8 games. It
Yeah,
was like within 8 games, I think he lost like one or two matches. That's about it, and one
yeah,
draw,
yeah.
Mm.
and changed the whole team around. Endo, used to play with Bayer Leverkusen. That's where he came from.
Yeah.
Um, De Zerbi, oh my God, that guy is a master tactician. I think if he was, I hope he doesn't go to Man United.
He won't
Or
go there, mate.
Oh, hope not.
I hope not.
What is he
Um,
linked?
well, it's not about being linked, but if you see the drama that's happening with Man
No,
United,
no, no.
how they're doing, I think I'm gonna this one. It will be my biggest prediction, and I'm gonna stand behind it. The first coach
Yeah.
that's gonna be sacked is Seven Hag.
I,
That's his
I,
name,
I think he
not
will as
10.
well. Yeah. Because people are saying, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Seven Hog or is it going to be Poch? I
Seven
think
Hag.
it's the amount of problems that's going on at United. Look, if they approach De Zerbi, I hope he rejects it because that club is just killing careers left, right, and center. So it's not the place to be at all. So yeah. But in terms of
And
future Liverpool manager, it has to be Xabi Alonso for me.
It has to be Zabi. It has to
Yeah.
be Zabi. I think.
Zerbi or Alonso, yeah.
Yeah, it has to
Because
be.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I think.
Zerbi.
yeah,
I
sorry.
think if you give like Pep Linders all that sort of like responsibility of the day, I
Too
think
much power.
it's too much. It's too much for him. I think the job that he's doing now, and
Yeah.
he's doing a good job now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that suits him for me because
It does.
remember the day, a lot of people went to NEC Breda in Holland. He went back to Holland and he managed NEC Breda,
He
and
didn't do well.
and they sacked him. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
obviously he came back to Liverpool. So I think he's already tried that sort of like that first team coach. You know what I mean? Being the guy and then day right, and it hasn't worked out for him. So I wouldn't like to see him get a hold of Liverpool. I would like to see Xabi Alonso because at the end of the day, right, he knows what it's like to play for this club. That's what you got to understand. He has played for this club, and he's played for this club in some of the best moments of Liverpool's history, i.e. Champions League, FA Cup, and so forth. Yeah, right. So he knows what it is in the day to play for this club. So he knows. So and then day, right, what he's done with Leverkusen today, yeah, right, is amazing. Remember that day, Leverkusen and day was always a good. It was always like a good side. When the Michael Ballack and Luciao days, when them days,
Yeah, remember them.
yeah, you remember those days, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, but they lost their way a bit because they lost a lot of their players, and they, Roberto and all their man used to play for there, innit?
Yeah,
and like, but they've started to sort of like get themselves back into it now, and like I see some of the highlights at the day of like the game with Bayern Munich the other day, yeah, and they look good. They look good. I ain't gonna lie, they look good. So listen, Xabi Alonso has to be the next Liverpool manager. Do you know what I mean? I just hope he's available at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I hope he's available because like you never know what can happen in the future. Because you think like Klopp may stay on and sort of like, look, you know what? I'm winning shit now, so you know what?
I think if Klopp was to leave, for me it has to be Xabi Alonso. I watched the clip earlier on today where someone interviewed Jose Mourinho, and then he was talking about Xabi Alonso being the next big manager. He was basically explaining that he has the pedigree to be a top coach manager because Xabi Alonso's father used to be a manager as well. I think he was for Sociedad, right? So he's grown up with a father who's like tactically driven, all that sort of stuff. And the coaches that he's played under, the likes of Mourinho, Ancelotti, Benitez. So he's always played under tacticians. So he's already got that pedigree to play at that level as well. So for me, that would be the guy as well. If Klopp was to leave. Just got a few more comments there. So Amirali says, I'll literally cry if it's Linders. Who's the next manager after Klopp? And then he's like cry of anger, and then someone said tears of joy. I don't think it's tears of joy. Uh, and then he said dislikes him, and he says I want Zabi ball in 2026 and nothing else. Fair enough. And then he also said Zabi or Deserby. Yeah, Deserby is getting a lot of mentions today, which is fair. Fair. Another comment from Red, White, and Red. Pep, the tactical brain behind the Klopp, though. I agree. He's not the main man. And I suspect that's the plan. There's nothing wrong with being number 2 when it comes to manager. If you're the guy, behind Klopp, nothing wrong with that at all, in my opinion. And Riley, would you take Nagelsmann, Fama? For me, I'm not sure if he's the right man for the job. Would you take him, Fama?
No, I wouldn't take him. I would have taken Nagelsmann. I don't know. He doesn't have he's missing a lot of piece in his winning mentality. And sometimes what it takes for someone to be a manager, not all footballers are good managers. Yeah, for sure. Not all footballers can be good managers. Pirlo, like how he did with Juventus, right?
Yeah.
Not a very good job, but he was doing it at a tough time at Juventus, right? But he was not doing very good. Even he has, as a player, he was playing in the midfield, like Xabi Alonso. Players in the midfield that have really good vision for the whole pitch, front, back, and they're most of the players that how can I say it? They may have like a neck pain from scanning a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of the common pains that they may have, like midfielders, because the amount of how many times they scan around them.
Yeah.
But still, he didn't do a very good job, right? I don't see Nagelsmann fit with us, with Liverpool. No. De Zerbi.
He was a man that come up the ranks, and he came up the ranks. Pretty well because he had draws with Stuttgart, Hanover, I do believe, because he literally saved those teams from relegation. Do you know what I mean? I know he saved Stuttgart from relegation because at that time I used to watch the Bundesliga highlights.
Yeah,
I watched that every Monday. I missed that program, I missed it. He used to go through all the teams, and that's when Klopp was actually with Dortmund at that time there. So it goes to show, it was a good while ago. And he done well with Stuttgart. He done well with Hanover, and I can't remember who he went with after Hanover. But then obviously he ends up with Bayern Munich. And I thought, what, then they good young manager and everything. Let's see what he can do with it. Obviously with a good team. Do you know what I mean? And it just didn't work out for him. So Nagelsmann wouldn't be my sort of he wouldn't be my go-to man. No.
Yeah, I think he had a high stock at one point. I think because of his last couple of roles, it hasn't worked out for him, I don't think. But I can see United getting him for some reason. If let's say Ten Hag or Seven Hag, as we like to call him, was sacked, they'll go for someone because they're thinking, profile, he fits the bill. But that club's in a shambles right now. I'm loving it. I don't really care. So
yeah. I mean all day long.
In that regard. Another comment here from Emirali. Xabi has everything needed to become an elite manager. It's crazy to think about managers that Xabi has learned from Benitez, Guardiola. Oh yeah, Guardiola as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention him. Bayern, Ancelotti, and Mourinho. So that's elite coaches that he's been working under. Could Xabi go into Madrid though? Really? Don't know if he could. No, I'm not sure about that. He even speaks multiple languages and already has an emotional bond with Liverpool. Yeah, I think the setting's there for him to come on. But Fama, you're please let everyone know in terms of where to follow you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm
starting a new channel probably next week. I did a test broadcast today just for the graphics, the sounds, and everything. Some stuff worked good. But
yeah,
thank you
good.
so much
earlier today.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, big up to you, man. Well, my current one is Football Life. You can, if you go to it, you'll see the test broadcast that I did today.
Football
next
Live,
week-
yeah.
Yeah, but next
Right,
week it's gonna.
I'm gonna go for it after the show, definitely.
Yeah, drop a
sure,
link.
man.
Drop a link in the comments, and then let everyone follow.
Sure.
I follow. I subscribed earlier on today, so everyone make sure to subscribe.
Because what it is in there, I would like to just before you go, I would like to invite you on my show one time when you're free.
For sure, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Anytime.
So come on and bless it up. Because listen, we're all a community, and we all love the Reds. So listen, you're welcome on my show each and every time. Get in there, son. Go on, get in.
Straight from Liverpool, man.
Get in there. Are you based in America, my friend?
In Canada.
Oh, Canada, because I've got I do a show with this guy called Liverpool 12 Man. We do regular shows, and he's based in Arizona.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him in other channels in Beijing, I think.
Yes.
TV.
Beijing's in Canada. Beijing's in Canada.
Yeah, he is in Toronto. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
Well,
Football Life. I'll make sure I'll subscribe to your channel, my friend. I'll make sure I'll do that.
Sounds good. Well, big up, guys, and wish you the best.
Thank you very much. Speak to you soon. Take care.
Most love, man. Most love.
Okay, so we've got K-Mac. We'd like to join K-Mac. How's it going? Welcome to the channel. How's it going, K-Mac? You're on mute, I think. Can't hear you.
You're on mute, fella. I think you're on mute. Is he on? He's on mute, isn't he?
He's on mute, I think. Yeah. I think he's trying to sort his. I can hear like a background
feedback, isn't it?
Can hear it, but
can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
How's it going, K-Mac?
Wireless headphones. Sorry, wireless headphones. Technology, eh? Hey, Uncle Rosman, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming
Cheers.
on. We were just talking about the potential next Liverpool manager. Who would you like to see in the frame if that happens in the next
That's a
few
really
years?
interesting one because if you think about it, Jurgen got the job off what he'd achieved and what he was going to achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he won a couple of titles, got to a couple of finals, got to the European Cup final, but wasn't actually a proper winner yet in those areas. Yeah. And then obviously came to us and then became a winner, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we didn't have him as our first choice either. We had Ancelotti as our first choice.
Ancelotti, yeah, I do remember that.
And we got Klopp because Ancelotti wanted to rebuild the whole spine, and FSG wasn't ready for that after the amount of money they just wasted on Rodgers.
Yeah,
Rodgers just kept on buying Southampton players.
I know
it. But I think Xabi Alonso would be a great manager, but he's still got to do something. Like he's still got a challenge, maybe runner up, maybe win a title. You know, the only person who's won a title in Germany that wasn't Pep was Klopp. So, you know what I mean? That wasn't Bayern Munich. So it's going to be a really hard one. So we've got to give him a couple of years, I think. But I don't think Real Madrid will wait a few years. Just like your last caller said, he brought that out, and I was about to talk about it when he was saying it. I do think Madrid would go for him. If you look at Zidane, you know what I mean. He didn't really have any experience. They just wanted him as a manager because he was a legend for them. Xabi Alonso is no different, really. He's won everything with them. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bayern Munich were knocking around him as well.
Yeah, that's fair, because Tuchel's not really having the best of times there. I think fans
in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, exactly.
You take the best, don't they?
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
For me, I think there's only a few managers that I think in a couple of years' time will be obviously like a couple of years later of challenging for leagues and, you know, getting far in European Cup competitions. Rui Almiron's got to be one of them for Sporting.
Yeah.
You know, he's done unbelievable things. He's only 38. And that's his second club he's managed, because he managed Braga before Benfica. Before Sporting. And he's done over 150 games with them already. And they've done well in European Cup competitions. You know, they knocked Arsenal out of the Europa League last year.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
It's an interesting one. He works with young players. I think his director of football is Hugo Viana, who used to be.
No way, is he?
Yeah, I think that could be his director of football. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really know that much about the Portuguese managers, but I've been following him. I mean, De Zerbi, I don't think De Zerbi's done enough. I like Spalletti as well, but Spalletti's just gone to Italy.
Yeah,
he's just joined the Italian national team. He would have been amazing. Like, can you imagine? Imagine if he stayed at Napoli for a couple more years.
Yeah,
how well he was doing with Napoli. Like, it was only the fact that Victor Osimhen got injured. It was only the fact that Victor Osimhen got injured during the Champions League run that they kind of derailed a bit, and then obviously got beat by Inter. Otherwise, they could have been in the final. Like, there's no reason why they couldn't have.
And that would have been a better fight, actually.
I mean, the league was a cakewalk for them. They tied the league up like 6 games before the finish.
Yeah. Don't you think?
And his team were all new players.
Yeah.
Like, he had to get rid of all the old guard, a bit like what Klopp's done.
Yeah.
All the old guard went at once, and he got all these new guys in, and he didn't pay a lot for them.
No, he didn't. But don't you think, Kay, that like if Napoli got to the finals of the Champions League, don't you think that would have been a better fight for Man City? That would have been a better fight, because me, Inter looked appalling. And I've admired Inter for years. That's a team I've admired for years. But they did in that final. They looked appalling.
Inter put up a good fight, though. To be fair, like, it took a really good goal by Rodri, didn't it?
I don't know if that was a good goal or just a goal, really. But
it's a Champions League winning goal.
Depends how you
can't have it. He's lived off that for his whole career.
Yeah, he won. Obviously, it was a goal that won the tournament. So arguably, you could probably say that it was a great goal. But like,
probably it's the biggest goal. It's the biggest goal any Man City players ever scored for them.
Yeah, you're right there.
I will say something though. I don't think there's ever going to be a team that will win the Premier League if they haven't got a Rodri type DM. You look at all the teams that have won the Premier League. They've all got a Rodri. All of them. Even Leicester City had one.
Yeah,
honestly,
honestly,
if we think we can win the league with 3 number 8s, it ain't gonna happen.
I'm judging the fact that they sort of like we do start playing Endo, and if in January and then we get Andre, and that could be our portion. But just it's mainly at the day a feeling that I've got. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes when I get these feelings at the day, right, in the past, and it usually works out whatever way, whether we lose or whether we win. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, it's just having that sort of like something inside you telling you, and well, no, you're not gonna win this tournament. Yeah, you are gonna win this tournament, and it just
you got spidey senses, have you? Have you got your spidey senses?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like that, because what it was. I was convinced at the day, sort of like, after we lost in the Champions League, sort of like, against Real Madrid, I was convinced at the day that we was going to win the Champions League next season. I was convinced. I was literally convinced at the day, and we did win it. I was convinced at the day that we was going to win the league the following season, and we did. I was convinced at the day that sort of like, I had a good feeling at the day that we might not win the Champions League, the one that was in recently just in. Do you know what I mean? The Champions League final against Real Madrid again. I had a feeling that we weren't going to win it, and we didn't win it. You know what I mean? It's just that feeling that I got inside me that we probably got the team at the day to do it. It might not look like it, but we probably got the team to do it. Then again, I may be wrong. It may not work out the way.
You think we're going to win the league this year?
I got a feeling we have. Yeah, we are. I got a feeling we are. I've got that feeling.
I mean, I had this. I'd say conversation, but it probably ended up with an argument with 12th man on Quasi's show today.
Oh yeah.
And the only positive I've got only positive I've got with Klopp this season is he's being more flexible with formations, which is a good thing. But then I've got massive criticism with him with the fact that he's persisting with inverted, and we are terrible with it. Like this season already, we've gone 3 goals behind by playing inverted. Trent's made loads of mistakes by playing inverted, and then we've managed to win the games after going down to 10 men as well in some of them by getting rid of inverted and then going back to 4-3-3, and then obviously changing our tactics in the second half and kind of regaining the momentum that we lost in the first half. And I'm just watching it thinking, is this on purpose? Is this a way to build your team up to think that they are invincible? Because you are literally going a goal down, being completely annihilated in the first half. Like all your left back and your right back are just being rinsed because they're completely out of position because of this inverted. Your midfield's being overrun. You're going down to 10 men, and then you're changing the tactics and then winning the game. I mean, is that a way? Is that a way to build confidence? Because I'm starting to feel like, what the hell's going on? Because every 15 minutes of a game, I wish I'd not watched it and then turned the TV on and went, okay, the game starts at 15 minutes. Because the first 15 minutes, we're still in Anfield or we're still in the changing rooms. Like, it's crazy. Yes. I've never seen anything like it under Klopp before, and Liverpool.
I see your point. There's no point in playing a system at the day that really doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like mind-boggling. I mean,
and this is the whole conversation around Pep and Linders. This is a Pep and Linders formation, inverted. Like, make no bones about it. He's the guy that's playing that formation. Like, he played it at NEC, and he also played it at that other team. I think it was Nijmegen or something like that. So he's been a manager at 2 clubs, hasn't he?
Is it 2 clubs? I thought he was in one.
No, I think he was a manager. I think he was a manager at 2 clubs in Holland. Okay. And he took that formation that he got from when he was a coach in Portugal. It was Portugal, wasn't it?
Yeah, Porto.
Yeah. Porto. I think it was it Porto?
Yeah, it's Porto,
Porto, yeah. So he took that with him and he used it there, and it was a failure. Yeah. He's brought it to Liverpool and he's never got a chance to play it because Klopp's obviously won everything with his 4-3-3 gegenpressing. And then when it started to fall apart last season because we didn't have the midfielders to run, basically, he's gone, oh, try this inverted. And we are still trying this inverted. Like when we switched to 4-4-2 or 4-4-3, we've been a different animal. Like we've been a different animal with 10 men.
But didn't it work sort of like work for like a few games, one or 2 games, but then after that it didn't work.
It
didn't work. I think there's 1 or 2 games at the day it did actually work, and people was thinking that yes, you know, I mean, this is good.
Yeah, this is our savior. Well, Trent was our savior because it was Trent won it pretty much.
Yeah, and then what it was, and they, as you said, Villa and they when sort of like when they was getting pushed back, and then wasn't able to sort of like do that inverted, and they kind of like we kind of like looked ordinary. So I get what I do get what you're saying, and it's sort of like it's not kind of like outlandish in what you're saying. because basically what you're saying at the day, there's a system at the day that you've tried at the day, right? Clearly that's not working. So why are you still doing that system? Do you know what I mean? Why are you still doing that? And when you know it, and then when you switch back to 4-3-3, like you always do, yeah, right? You start to win the game then. Do you know what I mean? So clearly,
You've got the midfielders. You've got the legs now.
Yeah,
you've got the midfielders now. Like,
yeah.
And the thing about it is like Dominic Szoboszlai could be a DM. He's that good. He chucked him as a DM in that game, and he just ran the show. Like, he just runs the show wherever he is in midfield.
Yeah.
I'm starting. You know the way you say you're getting tingly vibes. I'm getting Spidey senses. I'm getting Gerrard vibes from him.
Oh, stop it!
Don't blame me.
Seriously,
that's gonna make me sleep well tonight, mate. That's making me sleep well tonight, pal. You know what I mean? You just told me a bedtime story there, mate. I'll tell you that.
But I agree with your point about the inverted role thing. For me, I've been saying it for a while on my show that I feel like the system that will suit us is a 4-2-3-1, where you still play a back four, but you still have a double pivot where you can control games. I feel like when you play a 4-3-3, but then you revert it to a 3-2-2-3, you're adding a lot of gaps on that right-hand side. And I remember that game against Tottenham last season, we were exploited quite heavily. And then if they were more clinical on that day, it could have been a different scoreline. So tactically, yes, I still feel like we are still doing that inverted role. I think Gomez had a moment in the first half against Wolves where he went a bit more infield. And I'm like, no, that's not Gomez's game.
I thought I was watching a different TV channel. Like,
yeah,
I was like, what is Gomez doing? I don't think Gomez knew what he was doing.
No, and I think it was.
Do you remember that pre-season friendly where Shimmercast started doing it?
Yeah,
and you're like, what is this guy doing? And then he just left all that space, and the opposition scored. And I don't even know the opposition were. Like, there was some like second division German team, but it felt like that when Gomez was playing. And I'm just like, I like it. It looks comical. It genuinely looks a bit comical. And you've got players that are just trying to fill gaps. Like Matip's trying to fill a gap that someone else has left behind because he's gone wandering off into midfield. And the other team, like, literally their tactics must be just hit it over there. Just hit it over in that corner there. And if there's no one there, then we'll see what happens. And you do it once and they're like, oh, we're nearly in here. Oh, just keep on doing it.
No, in fact,
and it's ridiculous.
You make
it's like
an
an Achilles heel.
Yeah. Now you make a good point. I think going forward at the day is like, listen, unless you're going to play three at the back, allow this inverted thing. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're playing three at the back, naturally at the day when you're defending at the day, right, the right wide back is going to sort of like come back and form a back four. Do you know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? So it's good when you do it that way, or even also, back five.
I've also got to give Robbo some flowers as well because he's been really good this season. I didn't think he'd be able to get any better because I thought his drop off was going to be a little bit like Fabinho's, when he kind of just went off a cliff. And I thought he might do that because he was kind of falling off last season. But he's been really good this season. You've got to give Robbo some flowers, man. Absolutely.
He's getting better game by game, I think. Yesterday was probably his best game so far.
He is.
I was talking on. I think I was talking on my channel one time. I think not so long ago, a couple of days ago, and I was saying that they sort of like, when you look at sort of like Robbo's career, do you know what I mean? Of like, what has happened to him in his career. Like, he got like released by Celtic. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest clubs in Scotland. He got released by Celtic. You know what I mean? And he's gone to Dundee, and he's done well at Dundee. Then he's come down to England, and he's gone to Hull. He's got relegated with Hull, and then he got picked up by Liverpool and for that, and he hasn't looked back since. He literally has not.
Have you heard about the story when he was at Dundee? He was getting paid like £22 a week or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Like, and he was like he was like 19, 20 as well. He wasn't like really young, but he was on like, really, really low wages. But he nearly gave up. Like he's done like I think he's done like a little docu series or something, and I think his brother was supporting him through it. Like, and I think his brother was playing football as well.
Yes.
But he was at a better club. I don't know off the top of my head, but it was one of those things where it's like a sliding doors moment. Him going to Hull, like it was a sliding doors moment. Him going to Hull, because he wasn't going to go. He was going to try and hack it, like try and like get back into a bigger team in Scotland because of like the Celtics and Rangers were looking at him then because he's obviously got the talent, but I'm made up for Robert. I'm really happy that he wore the captaincy as well, and you can tell as well that like that really means something to him, you know, because that second half was sensational by him, like, and that goal.
That goal was
that was a really good finish.
Give a go, you know. That's give a go, brother. Give and go.
You know what though? You know what? I think Robbo will score more goals now because have you noticed he always hits it really hard, and it's the crossbar or misses. All he's got to do is do a little finesse finish like that now. Like he knows, doesn't he? Like
outside the foot. Yeah, he's got it.
He doesn't have to blast it.
Listen, when I was doing a watch log, and it happened so fast in the day, right? The move and the finish happened so fast. I actually didn't realize he scored until I saw him started running away like that. And I thought, oh, he scored.
I thought, you know, when that happened, it's just the way my mind's set now with referees. I was just like, I can't celebrate yet because they're going to try and find a way to disallow it. And I was like, oh no, did he obstruct the goalkeeper? You know, when you watch the replay, I'm like, they're going to disallow that, aren't they? Was he offside? Was he offside? Did he disrupt the goalkeeper? I'm just thinking of ways that they could disallow it because that's how bad it is now with us. Like,
it's true.
Like and that foul as well that we got a yellow card for after like. I'm sorry.
For McAllister, that
really is an agenda. Yeah. Really is an agenda. There really is like. And the thing about it though is like, Klopp just don't play him. Like, don't play that guy. Like you've already said that everyone's knackered and people have come from South America.
Yeah.
And you have to play McAllister, who they want to send off in every game because they didn't get to keep the red card.
Very
just don't
true.
play him.
No, hopefully, it does feel like at times.
And I will take so many 2-1s against those crap teams because they're the ones which stop us from winning the league. Anyone can say that it's Man City or it's Arsenal or it's Man United. It's not. It's always a Brighton, a Brentford, a Palace, a Wolves. It's always one of those that stop us from winning the league because they're the ones we always drop points against. Don't drop points against the others. So if we keep on doing this and we keep on beating the dross, those spidey feelings,
they might
be real.
Well, me and Uncle I've shamelessly have said that we're going to win the league. I've analysed the squads and I feel like we are going to win the league. But, you know, I might have pie on my face at the end of the season. But let me ask you, K-Mac, in terms of where do you see us finishing end of the season? You don't think we'll win the league? So where do you think we'll finish in the end?
I honestly, I kind of think I know the top 5. It's going to be City. It's going to be Liverpool. It's going to be Brighton, Arsenal, or Tottenham in that order below.
Interesting.
I genuinely believe Brighton aren't going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They're staying exactly where they are. If you can make 7 changes, away to Man United, I know Man United is shit. But if you can make 7 changes, 7, and still like go 3-0 up, 3-0 up. Like they were 3-0 up before United scored a goal. Like that. I mean, they were home and host like by half time, and they scored goals. And if you look at those goals, they were the type of goals where there isn't even a player near the Brighton player that scores. That's how good those goals are. There's nobody in the space that they're around, and they're in the box, and there's no one there, and the goalie's not near any of those strikes. If you could be scoring goals like that in every game, then you are a serious team to play against, because there's no way of defending it.
It's true.
Because you haven't got a man near them. So, okay, so the next thing is, how do we get a man near them to even block the shot, or to tackle the player, or to mark the player? And then you've got to stop the goal, because the shots are all so high quality, your goalkeeper doesn't stand a chance. And for me, like, for me, they literally have a system or a setup now where they take one in and take one out and put one in, and it's like no one ever changed. It's really, really.
Yeah, they've got like replacements in their squad, haven't they?
Stuff.
Yeah, and they can.
And it must be the way.
Yeah,
it must be the way that they train their players.
Yeah.
That they are literally identical players that can just go in and do another job. Like I genuinely thought that Dahoud would just come straight in and be the next McAllister for them, but he's not even getting a game because Billy Gilmore's doing well.
How
good is he?
Yeah, he's
he came from Chelsea. Like, he'll be going back to Chelsea for 100 million next year.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
But yeah, I see us coming second, and the reason why I see us coming second is I think Man City's defense is just that good. And did you see that goal, the goalkeeping save by Ederson against West Ham when they could have gone 2-0 up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's those type of things.
It's
those type of things. If you're pulling off saves like that, then and that puts West Ham 2-0 up, and that's a big deficit for anyone to take from a West Ham team. That's a big change in the game, and they're doing it and they just don't concede many goals. And they've just bought another worldie of a defender who's just a monster in Guardiola, he's the next one on the conveyor belt, isn't he?
Yeah.
They've just got another brilliant player in the door, and they've got Mateus Nunes to come off the bench, just to see things out. You're doing stuff. I mean, Jack Grealish couldn't even get on the pitch because they had Doku, who was just putting their right back and left back all over the place, and scored a really good goal. I just we might be able to beat Man City. We might be able to beat all the teams. But if Man City don't concede any goals, they'll normally win 1-0, 2-0.
I think it's their midfield that would be the one where it will give us a chance, because I feel like they have quite a few injury-prone midfielders, so the likes of Phillips and Kovacic as well. I know they've got Nunes, but Nunes not really a number 6 as such, because they normally play double pivot. I know Stones can fill in that role as well, but I feel like injuries will play a part in terms of who does well this season, in my opinion. I think even for Liverpool, in terms of our numbers, we have the numbers. But if we had a couple injuries in defence, then the quality would dip. And then you've got the likes of, I would say, Thiago, who's not really fit. But then you've got Bashir, who hasn't come in yet. So even our midfield might have less numbers. But I'm confident in terms of we have enough quality in the squad to rotate, which is probably the first time I would say we've got a big squad, I think, under Klopp, where in the past we've always lacked a right winger for Salah, or we've always lacked a backup for Robertson in left back. We were crying out for a backup left back for years, and we got one in Tsimikas in the end. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. This is just
I think we'll win the Europa League, though. I do think we'll win the Europa League. I can see
Uncle
that
was
happening.
About Nunes. I think Nunes will be unleashed in the Europa League. I think it just suits his sort of skill set in terms of playing European football. Teams are a bit more open in terms of how they defend, and I just think they won't be able to survive against his blistering speed as well. So Europa League definitely a big shot. I think Klopp's taking it seriously if you look at the selection there. So exciting times.
I think as well. I think the Nunes Salah relationship will only grow stronger as well.
Yeah.
And I said this on another show before as well. I think I think we need to give some real credit to Salah because anybody else could have had their heads turned, and he kept his straight all the time, you know, and we could be 10th if it wasn't for Salah so far this season. He has been that pivotal. Like he's been the guy that's produced Kevin De Bruyne assists. Like they are some sensational assists.
That assist was unbelievable.
Oh my god! I mean, some of them. I mean, everyone can say, "Oh yeah, that was a shot." That wasn't a shot. He put it into an area where he knew there'd be someone running in.
Yeah,
100%. And it's not just that. It's when he's provided those assists. They've been to go 1-up. They've been to go 2-1 up. They've been to get us back into games.
Yeah.
You know, they've been goals which have equalised or goals that have taken the lead. You know, this guy's on the same number as Steven Gerrard now for assists and goals, 200. He's just overtook Mahrez in the assist for African player.
As well,
67. Like this guy's priceless. Like he is priceless. Like, and he's only 30, and I think he's 31 this year.
Yeah.
So I think he's like a Lewandowski as well. I think we could get another 4 or 5 years out of him. I really do. He looks after himself so well.
Yeah.
And he has to learn to rest a bit. Like you're allowed to come off the pitch for a bit.
Yeah. I think last week he was in a bit of a mood. I think this time around
he's always in a mood.
I know.
He's always in a mood when he comes off.
It's true, but look,
for me, at the start of the season, he went crazy because he wanted to keep that record that he'd set in scoring every first Premier League goal. He'd had like 6 in a row or something, and he wanted to carry it on.
Yeah, he was not impressed.
Anyway, I've got to go, guys, but great show.
Yeah.
All right, and it's good chat.
Thank you, K-Mac. Thank you for coming on the show.
Big up, man. Big up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Just got a comment here from Red, White, and Red before we conclude the show. I think the inversion seems to work because it puts Trent where he wants to be in midfield. It's a mental thing for him. Definitely a mental thing. I feel like he was getting targeted by the opposition last season. Once he played that inverted role, probably felt like the shackles were off and he can kind of play his football a bit more. But I do understand K-Mac's opinion in terms of the inverted role, because especially against this Wolves game as well. When Gomez played it, that's not his style. That's not his skill set. He's not really a ball playing player in that manner. And only Trent can really play that role in terms of who we have in the squad. So I feel like Klopp has to kind of look at the opposition, because that has been one thing that I've always sort of had an issue with, is in terms of conceding early goals. Last season, it was mainly down to individual errors, but this inverted role, it can kind of like add gaps in the area. And it's always that left-hand side from the opposition where we're getting invaded by, you know, the likes of Pedro Neto, who was recently, and then last season it was Son. So it's somewhere where we definitely need to improve on, I think. But I've been saying it for a long time. I feel like the formation for us is a 4-2-3-1. And if, let's say, Klopp was to play that formation going forward, Trent could easily play in a double pivot as well. We've seen it in terms of when he's inverted. Maybe that could be his long-term position going forward. But that's me probably thinking, you know, a bit more forward in terms of how we would play. But do you feel like the inversion role is a big issue in terms of tactically, or is it just depending on who we play and phases of different games where we might actually need someone just to come in and do something?
I think, what you just said, I think you judge your tactics on like certain teams. You cannot play the same tactics for every team, because every team's the same. And Aston Villa was a prime example. When we played that, tried to play it inverted, sort of like right, and Trent was playing it. We tried to play that. It was like what was happening is that Trent was getting pushed back. He's literally getting pushed back because what they was doing, they're just lofting balls over the top. When he was like, obviously joined the midfield, they're just lofting balls over the top. And then he had to get back. So in the end, he just like, look, you know, I better just stay here then. Do you know what I mean? So that he got pushed back. So, but then you can play other teams at and you know, that inverted system can work well for you. And you know, I mean, I see that working well in Europe. You know what I mean? inverted right back business, all that. I see that working well at the end of the day in Europe, but like certain games at the day, like your Bournemouth, like your Wolves, like your Villa, it might not work so well. Do you understand what I'm saying? It might not work so well. So sometimes I think what you got to do and is assess at the end of the day, sort of like the team. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, assess the team and say, look, we're playing inverted this time, or we won't play inverted. Or you can probably say, look, right, guys, start off playing the inverted, yeah. But if you find out you're getting pushed back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You find out they're exploiting the spaces, just go back to 4-3-3. You know what I mean? Just go back to 4-3-3. No, you have to assess. You have to assess who you're playing. No doubt.
Yeah. Because then we become quite predictable in terms of how we set up. So I feel like we have to be a bit more tactically astute in terms of not being too predictable, because I think Wolves expected us to play that inverted role despite Trent not being available. So that's why Neto was given that license to really bomb forward and just stay up top, see what you can do. And then, he actually got a bit of success, especially in the first half. So yeah, I definitely agree in terms of your point there. Uncle Rods, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a long show as well. Appreciate your time.
I like it. Listen, if you're free tomorrow at the end of the day, I'm doing a weekend Premiership roundup. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I can send you the link.
Give me a shout. I'll reach out to you. Definitely give me a shout. But yeah, plug your channel, please. Let everyone know where to follow you on YouTube.
Yes. Listen, thanks for inviting me on the show. Do you know what I mean? It's been great chopping up with you. Do you know what I mean? Some interesting topics that we've discussed tonight. So yes, I'm, happy that you invited me on the show. Right, you can find me at Anfield Uncle Rods on YouTube. Okay, doing all content. Obviously, to pertain to Liverpool, our club. Do you know what I mean? Got a couple of shows up this week. I've got Premiership Roundup on tomorrow. Red and Blue show on Wednesday. Then I've got the match preview for the Europa Cup game, and then Thursday the watch along show, and then Friday we go again for the weekend. Do you know what I mean? So there's plenty of shows sort of to come up. So please like and subscribe to Anfield Uncle Rods. Also as well, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Anfield Uncle Rods on Instagram, and also you can follow me on Twitter as well, Anfield Uncle Rods. That's where you find me, and also obviously on this channel as well, chopping up with my brother. Ozzie.
Thank you, Uncle Roz. Appreciate your time and effort. And yes, you will be on this channel many more times during this season. I don't know if you can hear, there's a lot of thunderstorms in the background right now. So
where are you, man?
You can't hear nothing. Oh yes,
I can hear it. I can hear the thunderstorms. Where are you, brother?
I'm in London, so I live in South London. So it's a bit crazy right now. I've seen a lot of flash of lightning in the background. But yeah, thank you for your time, and we'll definitely get you on the show further in the season. And yeah, thank you for spending your time with all of us. And yeah, speak to you soon.
Peace, love, and respect. Peace.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. And that's a wrap up for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to so many people that have contributed to the channel today. Thank you to Bobby K, Amirali, Red, White, and Red, Uncle Rods, Double D, Football Life, K-Mac. Made a few appearances on the show today. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. In terms of my next shows coming up this week, so on Tuesday, I will be doing a Premier League Match Week 5 review of all the big games over the weekend. And then I will also be doing a match preview of Liverpool's first game in the Europa League. And I'll also do a match reaction for that as well. So the best thing to do is follow me on social media at OzzieFTP on Twitter. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Ozzie.ftp, on Threads and TikTok as well. So until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very soon. Goodbye.